I think the market's toast. I think it's only a matter of time before we start seeing real sell-offs happen. But you know what? What do I know? I'm just a guy on the internet. Good afternoon, outliers. How are y'all doing today? Happy Thursday to you. I hope your day has been going really super well. I got to tell you right now, I think the market's toast. I think it's only a matter of time before we start seeing real sell-offs happen. But you know what? What do I know? I'm just a guy on the internet. Dave is here. Good to see you. Tug is here. Peter, glad you made it. Cam, hey bud, how's it going? Randy, good afternoon. Michael's here. Thank you all for coming. Of course, the cost of admission today and every day going forward is to bring a friend. This is important to me, especially right now while we are not trading and teaching, right? Giving you actionable steps, learning all the ins and outs of trading, because I'm going to go ultra deep on every single thing that I do every day. I want you to share this with somebody, right? And it's best if they come live, because then I can share that, or not share that, but give them the opportunity to ask questions. Because a lot of this that we cover is super deep, is super detailed, and there are opportunities for questions, right? I got an email from somebody who wanted to know every little thing, every inside little thing about the order blocks. And I don't want you to focus on those little details, right? Like they are there. It's something that I trade with, but at the same time, right? That's just a portion of it, right? And I mean, this person wanted to know why I chose that indicator, why I use this one over that one, why did I have this particular setting inside the indicator? And I was like, listen, you're missing the forest for the trees here, right? It is something I use. It is really helpful, but it's not the end all be all. So we're going to go through everything, every chance that I get to help you learn as well. Brian's here. Michael's here. He's not snapping necks and cashing checks today. He's having to say hello to his little friend. Michael says, is there something new about the broker offering? Okay. I don't have permission to share this yet. So I'm not gonna, you guys know I cannot keep secrets. I'm not gonna give you the secret just yet, but we are doing our very best to expand our offering with OVTLYR to as many people as possible. And we might be doing some cool stuff pretty soon. So I'm gonna leave that on a cliffhanger. But yeah, there's and I wish I could tell you. Mahesh is saying maybe next week I can tell, but we'll get there at some point. So for today, what I wanted to do was quickly go through what's going on in the market, and then jump right into every feature inside of OVTLYR, talk about what it's meant to do, and then I'd really like to hear your feedback on how you're using it, how you are using each individual thing inside of OVTLYR, if you are. And there's probably things that you hadn't even looked at yet that you might find useful. So we're going to be covering a lot today. So let's jump right into our market analysis first. Yeah, I guess I can. I was thinking I would skip over the whole slideshow thing, but no, we have to do this right. We have to do this right. Welcome to the OVTLYR trading room. This is smart trading made simple. Save time. There it is. Save time, make money, start winning with less risk. Now that is what I like to call profit hacking. Now you can get a copy of the playbook over at profithackingplaybook.com or inside the VIP Investors Toolkit. And for those of you who don't know me, my name is Christopher Ewell. I've twice been awarded top 100 people in finance. I've been successfully trading since 2009, and I am a partner with OVTLYR, and this is my style of trading using OVTLYR. Now, I like to call it the golden ticket trading strategy. It's the 8 steps to turn profit hacking into pure gold. So it always starts with the market. We're going to let the market tell us which direction it's going with the golden ticket, right? The golden ticket really rules all in the way that I trade. And it starts with the SPY signal. Now, this is where I wanted to start today, because we got a sell signal on the SPY today, right? This last buy and sell signal, I looked it up, right? For a hot minute, I was like, man, that's not a great signal. In fact, I emailed Mahesh, or I texted Mahesh one day, and I was like, why don't we have a sell signal? We got a buy signal here. Why don't we have a sell? And he's like, the data doesn't show it. Just relax, Chris. And while the market went down 8%, it went up 10% after that point. And the change between A and B today is like less than 1%. So it's really not that big a deal um, where that buy and sell signal came in. But it is, if you were long, giving you that sell signal to get out of the market right here. So, like I said, we do have a sell signal on the SPY today. Now, the market breadth, this also has tanked lately. Now, keep in mind, we got out of the market on September 3rd. What day of the week was that? That was Friday, right? No, that was Tuesday. Was that just 2 days ago? Is that literally just 2 days ago? It feels like ages ago. Got out of the market on September 3rd, 2 days ago. And look, right? This is why I have this rule, right? If you remember, my rule is if it closes under the 20-day moving average, get out, hang out until it comes back over the 10 EMA, right? There's no reason to be getting in anything right now, long or short. Randy had a question in the Discord, and I'm saving this for when we get to this section here. But Randy's question was, we've got the 10-20 that are not quite crossed over. If it goes under the 50 at this point here, would you wait until the 10-20 crosses under the 50? The answer is no. I mean, you give it enough time, the 10 and 20 have to mathematically go under the 50 if you're still in a trend. So to me, it doesn't matter. Like you can see right here, that did happen above. And then eventually, right? So the 10 and 20 finally crossed, but it was above the 50. And eventually it went down and came right back up. But like I say, during this time, we didn't get a sell signal on the SPY, but we do have one now. We do have a sell signal right now. Looking at the market breadth, a lot has changed very recently, right? We actually have bearish market breadth just that fast, 2 days from being, I was like 60% in the market bullish to let's start talking about being bearish, right? We got a bearish market breadth right here. We got a sell signal on the SPY, but I will not be doing any short trades until we get the 10 under the 20, price under the 50, which I don't know when that'll be. It could be tomorrow. It could be. It legit could be, but it might take a few more days. We'll just have to wait and see. Sebastian, hey, Joel, good to see you. Happy Thursday. So with that out of the way, I won't be trading today. So we're going to use today as an opportunity to go through each of the features inside of OVTLYR, inside of each of the stocks, inside the platform. So you can learn everything that we've got. And of course, feel free to ask questions, right? I do this for you. So let's start on the watch list, and I'll make this real big. So on the watch list here, this is really great because it has, it's got really, how should I phrase this? There is a ton of data here, right? And at first glance, it doesn't look like all that much, but actually, let me just expand everything and show what I mean. So you've got your favorites on the left-hand side, all right? You can add any stock to it by just clicking that star, and then you'll see AJG show up over there, right? And if you're like, I don't want that as a favorite anymore, just hit the star and it goes away. And then it'll reload and AJG is gone. Now, a couple of things to notice across here. You've got your favorites list. It shows your current buy and sells for any of those. You can click this button over here and it'll actually show you the list of sector ETFs all at once right there, which is pretty handy. Then on the bull list and the bear list, these are all of the buy signals. These are all of the sell signals arranged by signal date. And you can sort it by the opposite signal date. I have no idea why you'd ever want to do that, but you could. And then same with the bear list. And then the ETFs also do that as well. Now, these ETFs are more comprehensive than what you're going to find over here. These are your sector ETFs like XLI, XLB, XLY, XLU, XLF, XLV, XLK, etc. But then you've got other ones like KRE. I know that is a regional banking ETF. IWN, I believe, has, in fact, let's just go to IWN real quick. It'll tell you what it is once you go into the stocks dashboard there. Yeah, Russell 2000 Value ETF. IWM is the Russell 2000. This is the Russell 2000 Value ETF. So there's tons that you can get over here. Same for this, for the bull list and bear list. Now up here, you'll notice there are 15 new on the bull list today and 1,054 on the bull list overall. 36 new on the bear list and only 110. Oh, wait, that's on the ETFs. Let me go over here. 72 new on the bear list today, 733 in total, right? So you can see like it's having some migration, right? This is what's measured in the market breadth. That's this percentage right here. How many stocks are on the bull list? That's what we're measuring. Okay. So as you can see this going down, the market breadth would be going down. So that is what this is measuring here, is how many stocks are on the bull list. Then you can expand these and actually get a lot more data. In fact, before we had the screener, which we'll look at in a little bit, this is where I got a ton of information from. You can pop this open and you can see the symbol, the current signal, the last signal date. So if it wasn't today, you could scroll back and see yesterday and keep scrolling down, and you can load more and see for ages, basically. You can go all the way back into the beginning of time, I suppose, if you really wanted to. Then you can filter on sectors, right? Let's say I just want financials. I'm a financial guy. I only want financials. And you can close it. Is that not working? Oh, there it goes. And so it should filter on the financial sector only. And then give that a minute to load. Well, clearly I did it wrong. Maybe that's a bug. I think that is a bug. Mark, if you're watching, I think we found a bug. Let me click utilities. Oh, there it is. No, it's not a bug. I think it's me. I think the button is down there. Sorry. Talk amongst yourselves. Yeah, I don't know. I can't get this to filter. But it looks like you can do more than, more than a few. I just can't find like the go button. Or is it just click X? No. Okay, we'll get that worked on. In fact, let me make a note. And here's one of the cool things, right? Is that we are actively using this every single day. And we are always, always, always trying to improve the product. So clearly we found a bug on here. We'll get it fixed. Filter on full list. Okay, cool. Then you've got your overlay. Now I know this works. I used to use this a lot. So let's say you only want to look at the green overlays. Well, what the heck is a green overlay, Chris? It's this area behind the chart, right? You've got your white overlays, which are like sideways moves. You've got your green overlays, which are the bullish moves. And you've got your red overlays, which are the bearish moves here. So you can filter on uptrend, downtrend, or neutral, right? So you can just filter on only greens. That was one of my things that I would filter on. And you can see the last day's close. You can see 30-day average volume. And you can sort those as well. But it gives you a ton of information right here. And same on the bear list, basically everything the same over there. But one thing that we recently added is the screener. So we're going to move off the watch list and onto the screener, because this is like the watch list on steroids. This is like the watch list on all the steroids, right? And this is so cool. One of the things that we recently did, or what I did was, in fact, I did this today, was I created a bearish screener, and we can jump right through that right now and talk about how it works. Okay. So the sector here, you can choose any sector, right? Maybe you only want to see energy and financials, or maybe you want to just see everything. That's how I like to do it. You can change the industry. So you can click discretionary, then you can say automobiles. Okay. We can hit all. And then you can go to OVTLYR signal return. This is positive or negative. So what does that mean? Inside of every single stock that we cover, over here on the performance summary, you can click one click back test. And you can see right on the screen the OVTLYR results versus buy and hold. Now, they're pretty similar on the S&P 500. So let's go to something like Tesla. Everyone's favorite stock to talk about, either good or bad. You go to performance summary here, and you can see OVTLYR, handily outperforming buy and hold. And you can see how the OVTLYR signals would have performed over time, and the buy and hold, how it performed over time. So that is the signal return that it's looking at right there. Capital efficiency. This is a measure that is actually really interesting, right? So let's look over here at Tesla's capital efficiency is at 7.48. It's a function of the return of the signal versus the average holding period. No, total trading days. In fact, let's go back to SPY because this one's going to be a lot easier to visualize. I'll show you what I mean by easier to visualize here in a second. So the outlier buy and the buy and hold are very similar to each other. Yet the total trading days between the two is very different, right? So with buy and hold, we measured 1,176 days. Outlier, we measured 641 days for every buy signal to every sell signal. Yet we had similar returns. So our capital efficiency at 1.83 is like this. I'll show you a quick and dirty calculation here, right? So let's say we had 1,200 days that we measured. I'm rounding it. Divided by outlier's 600 days. Okay. So that's 2. And because the capital efficiency is nearly on top of each other, we could say it's 1, right? So your capital efficiency rounds to 1.83. So it's a measure of how much return do we have? How much alpha do we have? How much return in excess of buy and hold do we have versus how much time we're in the market? Now, going back over to Tesla, capital efficiency here is 7.5 basically, because we're in it for roughly half the time, 1,096 versus 526. But yet our returns are much bigger. Let's see. 1176 divided by 327 is 3.5 times. And if we're only in it for half of it, right? So you could say 3.5 divide or multiply by 2 gives you around 7. So that's that number right there, right? We're in it for half the time and we're making 3.5 times as much. Therefore, capital efficiency is 7.48. It's a big number. It's a big deal. So you can filter on a capital efficiency if you choose to do so. 30-day average volume. That's your choice and how you like to trade, right? I like to trade with as many shares as possible. I want as much liquidity as I can find, but it could be totally different for you, right? One of my mentors, Mark Minervini, he likes to trade low float stocks because for him, that fits his trading style. And when a low float stock starts to move, it can move very, very quickly, very rapidly. So for him, he may filter for under 500K. I like to be over $1 million, like I say. Now, if I'm building this for a bearish screener here, I'm going to go on the sell signals versus the buy signals. Simple enough. Price change. Now, this is a price correction change. So it's saying like over the last 5 days, show me ones that have corrected by 5, 10, or 20% or more. I'm not one who likes to use that, but that may be the way that you trade. I know Mahesh, he built it because he likes it that way. The oscillator. The oscillator, we're going to speak more about in a few minutes, but that's this blue line back here. So what this does is it essentially gives you outlier's prediction on where the stock is headed, right? If it starts moving up, that's outlier's prediction of, hey, this stock is starting to look like it's going to move up. If it starts turning and pointing down, that's outlier's prediction of, hey, this stock looks like it's going to start turning down. And then when it goes sideways, right, there's not a whole lot going on when it's sideways. When it's sideways and in a white overlay right there, basically that's just dead money waiting for something to happen. Then the market cap, if you like to trade small caps or whatever, you can filter that to any size that you want. Personally, I like to leave it wide open. You can filter it to any size of price that you want. I like $20 or more. The heat map value on the chart here on the bottom right here, you're going to see the behavioral heat map. I love the behavioral heat map. There is so much information that can be gleaned from this. And the way that you look at it is start looking up here and you'll see as I move my cursor, the R value change where it says heat map. Look where it says heat map and you'll see it change from R48, R38. I'll go over here to G6. So this is the behavioral heat map. This shows how fearful and how greedy investors are looking at this stock, right? If it's super red, right, R47, it's very possible that you could see a snapback. I kind of think of it like a rubber band, right? The further it gets stretched from 0 to 50 on the fear side or the 0 to 50 on the greed side, the further it gets stretched, the more likely it is to snap back. So I love trading with that as an exit signal here. And you can see, the volatility of the fear and greed can be quite stark, right? So lots and lots of fear. And then, oh, look at that. It got super deep in fear and then popped right back up. So it got super deep in greed, and then it started to go back down. So just one of those cool indicators that we have inside of OVTLYR, and you can actually filter on that in your screener. And then the overlay indicator, that's these overlays back here that we talked about. So they can apply your filter. And like I say, this is the watch list on steroids. It's everything and more that the watch list has, and you can customize it to what works best for you. So I love the screener. The screener is one of the most time-saving things that we have come across inside of OVTLYR. And in fact, I would imagine that our users are loving this. And you tell me in the comments, right? How you're using this. I'd be very curious to hear, because for me, this saves me several minutes of time every single day, because I can do, I can click my saved screener up here and click, run, and then it shows me everything that I'd want to see in my type of trading, my style of trading, all at once instantly, which is super, super cool. I love that. So now let's jump into each of the, I'm gonna tell you what, let's go back to SPY, because the ETFs actually have some interesting data that is not inside of the individual stocks. So we'll look up here. You can type in SPY, or you could even go up here and click into any of the different ETFs that we cover, right? So in fact, let's go to financials. So this would be like XLF, right? So that's the financials ETF. We can see the performance summary. OVTLYR at 73% versus buy and hold at 50%. We can see capital efficiency at 3.34x. And now you know how to calculate that, so that's good. And looking down here at the constituent map, this is the data that is not on the individual stocks. So let's just say that we went to January 29th, 2024. Looking at the heat map here, we got a buy signal, but also on the constituent map, look at all of the green. Okay, look at the bottom here. All of this green, 246 companies. It changed because it goes on whichever day you're on. 256 companies reflected greed. Only 35 companies reflected fear. And the measure of this is how deep it is in the behavioral heat map. Okay, so the ones that are way up here have tons and tons of greed. The ones that are way up here have tons and tons of fear. In fact, if we go back to COVID, this should light up the opposite. Look at that. Look at all that fear, right? Do you remember the COVID meltdown, right? This was March 27th, 2020. A ton of fear in the market right there. It had okay, so this is funny. XLF, 270 of the companies inside of XLF showed fear. One company showed greed. So I think that's super useful. Definitely something you might want to check out when you're looking at ETFs. And in fact, as we go through all this, if you are curious about, hey, how does this work? Click these little buttons right here, and there's a video by a super handsome guy exactly how each one of these work. And there's my hash too. So we really try to explain what every single thing is inside of here. In fact, even with the constituent map right down there. Then over here, the directional volatility histogram. This is an interesting chart because it tries to give you an idea of what the movements look like for this particular stock or ETF. If you have a super wide and a super flat set of data here, then it actually moves a ton in both directions, right? It moves a ton with big up moves, it moves a ton with big down moves, and a ton of volatility overall. But if you have, I always use Coke as my most boring example. Let's go to Coke real quick. If you have one that's really isolated in the middle, a lot more like this, right? This is a stock that's not really that volatile. Okay. A lot of the moves are very close to zero. I guess you could put it that way, right? It doesn't have these big 10% moves up or down all that often. Then you can go to something like AMC. And you can see this has really volatile moves, especially to the upside, right? Huge moves to the upside. And so that might factor into your trading one way or another. Maybe you build option spreads or something like that around these type of moves. Or you go the other way where it's Apple, right? I remember there was a point in time where basically you buy Apple, it goes up. And I remember for years thinking how dumb I was not buying Apple. And that's reflective here in the data, right? You buy Apple, it goes up, right? There's only so much down frequency where there's so much up frequency. That's not the case anymore these days with Apple. But at one point, Apple was like the easiest trade ever to make. Okay, so we covered the constituent map. We covered the directional volatility histogram. On the stocks, the constituent map is replaced with some stock information just for that one. Let's jump into the chart up here. And so we've got the overlays we talked about. We talked about the blue line is not a moving average. This is our price trajectory oscillator and the prediction of the price trends. And then you've got the behavioral heat map down here. And then probably the most exciting thing, the one that you're here for, is the buy and sell signals. Now, the buy and sell signals are not on their own. The buy and sell signals take into account everything that we talked about, everything that's on the chart, all the data points included, and then it builds a buy or a sell signal. And I'll give you some pro tips on this, right? We've traded a lot with this. I started trading exclusively outlier signals last May. And I lost a lot of money last summer because I didn't know how to use it correctly. So Sebastian, who's on the line right now, he threatened me with my life one day. He's like, Chris, why do we have so many losers? And reason being is that there's a sell to open and a sell to close. There's a buy to open and a buy to close. Now, like I say, this is my own personal use of it. This is pro tips. This is not company policy, I guess you could say. But let's jump into it and I'll explain what I mean. So this signal right here, right? You've got this red sell signal inside of a green overlay. You can see the price trajectory oscillators pointing up, and you can see the stock itself is trending up. I would not short that. No way, Jose, would I short that. But I would take it as a sell to cash, sell to close, sell to go to cash, right? And then you can see here, this one, in fact, let me zoom in a little bit better. You can see this signal right here being a buy signal in a green overlay in the stock that's trending up with the price trajectory oscillator also pointing upward. That would be a strong buy. Okay. That would be a very strong buy. Whereas this one right here is not a sell to close, or I'm sorry, not a sell to open, not an excuse to go buy puts, not an excuse to start shorting that stock. That is a sell to close, take your money. And you can see right here, we're not trying to pick the very top, very bottom, because it did continue to go on up, right? And then we got another buy signal, and then whatever happened after that. Let's go look at Boeing. Oh, Cam said, great cover call stock, probably on Apple. Now, Boeing has been getting absolutely destroyed lately, but one of the very greatest signals I ever saw was this one right here. And it went up $70 during this time right here. It went from 193 up to 260. And, you know, OVTLYR totally nailed this, but you could look at it the other way, right? Where I said I wouldn't take a long signal inside of a red overlay. If you had taken a long signal here, you could have done great. And so that's what I'm saying here is like, it's not company policy, you know, to give strong buys, strong sells, but taking it from a holistic perspective, right? Boeing had reached a very oversold point, and then it got a buy signal, and then it started to go well on up, and then it got a sell signal right here. So yeah, lots and lots and lots of really great information inside of OVTLYR. In fact, let's go to, I keep going to this page here because this is all the features. If you want to learn more about what each feature is, definitely check out our features page. You should get lots of information right there. Let's go to one that's got a buy signal today, just for fun. OVTLYR bullish. Peter says, maybe an idea to be able to look at a time frame in the directional volatility histogram. Volatility histogram. So, oh, down here. I see what you're saying. Yeah, that makes sense. You know, one thing that's cool about this is you can zoom in, right? It starts out here as at the max view, as weekly candles, and you can zoom in and they seamlessly change to daily candles. And then you can drag this bar around. That helps a lot. But yeah, you're right. The directional volatility histogram is all the data over time. So let's go to Amgen. Let's go look at Amgen stock here. So this is one that came through on a buy signal today. It's got the directional volatility oscillator pointing up. It's not like a huge pointing up right now, but the direction is going up. It's inside of a green overlay with a buy signal, and it's actually like right at zero, G0. It's not too over greedy or too over fearful. So to me, that's an excellent opportunity to look into a stock. In fact, this one has a 65% historical return versus buy and hold at 42%, capital efficiency at 2.89x. So that is the way that you can use all of the data inside of OVTLYR, right? There's a ton of data in here. And realistically speaking, I think the screener is the best use of your time in OVTLYR once you understand what all the pieces are, what it's asking you to filter for, and then going in and adding your criterias into the screener here. You can instantly get that data, right? You can instantly know, hey, okay, this is exactly what I want to see. This stock fits my criteria. I'm moving forward. And in fact, you can see me doing it live every single day here in the trading room using the screener because it works. So that's everything I wanted to cover. Do you guys have any questions about any areas in particular inside the platform that I could cover? I'll give you just a minute to type those questions in. Market's not looking so good. Not looking good at all. In fact, if I ran my bearish screener, let's do that. While you're typing those questions in, I'm going to run the bearish screener. Let's go look at, there were only two that fit my criteria today. BP and triple V, Valvoline. Cam asks, where's the features located again to see the videos? Right on these blue, like YouTube looking buttons. We have the videos for each thing, right? Buy and sell signals. And for example, Hesh and I talk specifically about each of these signals, how I use them, how he uses them, and how they're built. Or then you could look at a price trajectory oscillator, the blue line on the chart here. So we've got an explanation of how that works. So hope that helps. Very cool. Michael says it'd be great to have a field or positive. Great to have a field for positive for the sector. Oh, yeah, we've talked about that. Having the sector screener in here. What I've been doing is just going through each morning before I start my workday, basically, and coming through and taking a look at where the stocks are, where the sectors are, right? And be like, oh, look, the healthcare sector actually just turned bearish, right? And this is not something you have to do every day. It's not something you have to obsess over because, as you can see, here's a great example, right? It's very cyclical. It may go 2 weeks one direction and then another 2 weeks in that direction. And then it may go 3 weeks the opposite direction, right? These don't change very much, but it's definitely something to keep an eye on for sure. Cam says, all right, got it. Joel asks, are your signals for buying puts the exact opposite for buying calls? Joel, it absolutely, most certainly is. And tell you what, let's do some analysis here on BP, right? BP came in with the sell signal today, and it has a red overlay. Its heat map value is R10. So for me, that's everything in OVTLYR I need to see to start looking for buying puts. Now, of course, there's more to it, and we cover all that stuff every day in the trading room. But yeah, BP absolutely looks like a great candidate for buying puts. Not today, for me. For me, not today, because the market is not quite trending down, but it's getting close. It's getting pretty darn close. In fact, if BP gave up that area right there, yeah, that looks pretty ugly. ugly if you own the stock. I'll put it that way. Tug says, concerning your screener settings, what you're thinking for $20 a share? So that's a really good question. And this is a personal preference for me. What I have found is that in fact, there's an old adage where it's like, a stock is cheap for a reason. The stock is expensive for a reason, right? I'm not really not interested in buying a stock that's an $8 stock, right? If it's an $8 stock, that means nobody wants to buy it, right? I mean, let's look at Peloton. Peloton is a $4.75 stock, right? Peloton had its day. I own a Peloton. I haven't used it in like 2 years. It's upstairs and I have not touched it, right? Now, it's cheap for a reason. And let's zoom out a little bit more. In fact, there's some notes on when I've traded it previously. I mean, how high did Peloton go? Did they have like a reverse split? It looks like good gravy. No, I guess not. Peloton at one point was $171 stock. That's a valuable company, right? A stock that's got $171 a share, probably multi-billion dollar company at that point, right? That's a company I'm interested in. That's a company I want to own. That's a company where, you know what, buying calls on that sounds pretty good. And let's say the opposite's true, right? If I were to buy puts on Peloton, it's $4. Like it can't go all that low. So buying puts on a $4 stock, like there's only so much you can make on that, right? So by getting a $20 limit, and like I say, my own personal limit, you could decide, up to $5. Maybe that's the way you want to trade. For me, that gives me stocks that are a lot more liquid. More people want to trade them, more people want to own them, and a better stock that I can actually make more money on those type of movements. Makes sense. It's not your clothes hanger. Yeah, during the pandemic, Peloton was absolutely crazy. So I appreciate you all giving me the time to go through all of this today. Tomorrow, the plan is I'm going to be doing a special live stream at 2 o'clock Central Time, 3 p.m. Eastern Time, talking about how OVTLYR helps you save time, make money, start winning with less risk. And then we'll come into the trading room. We'll do a very brief overview of if there are any trades to put on, maybe a plan for starting out next week, and then we'll cut it out early. I don't plan to do any lessons tomorrow because you know how OVTLYR works. If you don't, go watch yesterday's video, and all the spots inside of OVTLYR on today's video. And then next week, we'll start with the market trend. Or no, next week, we'll start with the master key. We'll talk about how it works, why it works, right? It's not just a checkbox, right? I do so much consulting with financial institutions, and everything that I do with them sometimes is just a checkbox. Like, okay, just did that, cool, good to go. This matters. This means something. This is important. And these are not just checkboxes. Like these have a meaning, and I'm gonna explain to you why they matter. So tune in for that on Monday. But otherwise, I'll see y'all right back here tomorrow. Have a great afternoon. We'll talk soon.